I find it really hard to spiritually reckon with how Joe lost a wife and multiple children and how he can inflict that on millions of others. I'm interested in your spiritual wisdom because it's deeply heartbreaking. There's a term called moral fragmentation. And there's a really great book called The Nazi Doctors by Robert J. Lifton, where he went and interviewed because one of the highest percentage of professions in the SS were doctors. It was, of course, a fallacy, but the idea that at the death camps, it was, quote unquote, a selection based on medical fitness. So doctors were at the ramps, like Mengele, saying, okay, you go to the gas chamber, you go here. And so he went back after the war and interviewed the doctors. And it's this moral fragmentation where you may spend the bulk of your day doing evil things, but you define your sense of identity and your moral worth based on something marginal, which is often how you treat your family or how you respond compassionately to your family. But you essentially silo it. You don't use your own experience or you don't extrapolate it to see the suffering of others. I mean, this is one of the things I always admired so much about my father, who was very active in the gay rights movement. My uncle was gay, his youngest brother, and he was disowned by the family except for my dad. So his name was Jamie, and his partner used to come to our house for holidays. They lived in New York City. And my father saw in the suffering of his brother the suffering of all gay people in America and was very vocal, and the church was very unforgiving for that. So you have to break that moral fragmentation. You have to see in the suffering of others your own suffering, just as I think we have to see in the capacity for evil, our own capacity for evil. That's Primo Levi. We can all become willing executioners. And if we're not in touch with that evil within us, it's important that we're in touch with that capacity for evil because it's a kind of safeguard from committing evil. But when you externalize evil, so that evil is embodied in the other, the way the Israelis see the Palestinians as embodying evil, then you attempt to physically eradicate others to eradicate evil. But of course, what you're doing is actually exacerbating evil, not only within you, but within your society.